Welcome back to the School of Jesus, where the master teacher is Jesus himself. And he's really sharing with his followers, his disciples, and he's breaking it down on what it's like to be in his kingdom, what you become, what you are. He does it. You can't do these things without him. You'll find out. It's good to try. I'm not saying you just sit back and say, okay, Jesus changed me. I mean, I pray that all the time, but I'm still active. It's a cooperation. It's you and him together. It's so cool. But one of the principles that Jesus is saying that we've already discussed is you've heard it been said, like the Pharisees and scribes, and the Bible itself is teaching that you shouldn't murder. Okay. The Pharisees, basically, their teachings seem to be, a lot of them, not completely, but a lot of them were teaching more of the external thing, like you should not murder. And then they didn't really deal with the heart, the inside of the person. And so Jesus comes along and says, I say unto you, what about your anger? It starts there. And God sees your heart. You may never, and most people won't murder anybody, but God sees this kind of a murderous anger inside people that seethes against people. By the way, if you do get angry, don't go to bed angry. The Bible says in Ephesians, Ephesians 4, it says, don't let the sun go down upon your wrath. In other words, you need to give up your anger. So God's looking for this. He's looking to change your heart. And the cool thing is that when the Spirit of Jesus comes into your heart, when you've given your life and heart to him, then you're good to go. Jesus will really work in that heart and change. Now, I have a couple here. They're married. And the next passage that we're going to discuss here, he says, you've heard it been said, don't commit adultery. And that is true. The Bible teaches that. The seventh commandment, thou shalt not commit adultery. What's committing adultery? Well, you have like a couple here, a husband and a wife, and they love each other. No, don't do that right now. Just playing. That's crazy. Not in front of public, but they love each other. And these two are husband and wife. And these guys happen to be Christians, by the way. But anyway, we're going to go on. I have names for them and everything. But anyway, I don't play with toys, but this is for kids. So here we go. We got a husband and wife that, that are supposed to be together, and they're in love with each other, and they stay together. Jesus said, you've heard it been said, do not commit adultery. Adultery, by the way, is when you bring in someone else. Let's bring in a girl. It could be the guy. So you have another person come like this, and then the guy, starts looking over here. See, he's married to her, but he's looking over here and starting to kind of want her to be his wife. He's lusting after her. He desires her. He's lusting after her. So he may say, oh, she's really pretty. That's okay. People are beautiful. I admire the beauty of God's creations and everything. And people, they're just beautiful. Women, guys are good looking and all that. But when you start looking at them and you just keep looking and you kind of want him, you kind of picture him and all, you're kind of looking in the wrong way. That's not good. So Jesus said, if you lust after her, or it could be her after him, because, the woman can do it too. Some guy comes along, not her husband, and then she kind of goes, oh, he's so nice and good looking and he's funny and blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden they get together. Oh my goodness, not good. That's committing adultery, is when you go off and you treat the guy like she's treating him like he's her husband. That's not right. It's not right at all. And now, so it's kind of like what Jesus said, if you lust after her in your heart. So here, this guy right here, lust means desire, and you're kind of wanting her. And this guy right here, as you can see, in his heart is looking at her in the wrong way. It's okay to look at her and say, oh, she's pretty or something, and then, that's it. You don't just keep thinking about her and wanting her and and all that. And also, there it is, want. So wrong way and want. So he just keeps looking. In his heart, Jesus said, you've committed adultery. Well, you haven't been with her. You didn't spend the night with her or something. But Jesus said you already committed adultery. And that principle, by the way, even though we're talking about husband and wife, it can actually go to single people too, where you're looking at the wrong way or something. As you're growing up, you need to admire people and all, but you don't want to go after them. Now, there is a natural attraction, like here's his wife. Okay, we'll take these two. Here's his wife, and maybe they met each other and they became friends. You know how it goes, and it goes, oh, I like her, she likes him, she likes him, or something. And then they spend, and they kind of want each other and all. That's why you get married. Okay, and after a while, a long while, you don't want to do it quick, but maybe 2 years, 3 years of knowing each other, get to really know. Then from here, here comes the bride, all dressed in green. Whoops, all dressed in white. Well, I don't have her in a white dress. And then they get married and woohoo, honeymoon. And they love each other. Okay, they're going to kiss here. You don't need to be looking at... All right, but anyway, I'm sorry, I'm having fun. So it's okay then to want each other. And that's okay. You give yourselves to each other, spirit, soul, and body. It's beautiful. It's awesome. But you're kind of being a thief if you're taking it from someone else. You're taking another man's wife or something. Or you're taking someone before they're even married, and maybe that's not the one that you're supposed to marry, and then you take her, and you're not saving yourself for the one and only who you're going to get married with. And that's what Jesus is talking about. And then he goes on and says some pretty strong things. He says, if your eye offends you, like your eye, you're looking, remember that picture of his eye looking at her like that. If your eye offends you, in other words, it causes you to sin or it causes you to stumble. See, the eye is supposed to not, we have eyes to keep us from stumbling. But if you fall and you're kind of lusting after another person, Jesus says, pluck it out, gouge it out. Get that eye out. Now, he didn't really mean to literally do it. So if I take my eye and I pull it out like this, it's a marble, but we'll pretend that's my eye. If my eye is causing me to sin, and I'm lusting after, females or whatever, girls, women, and all, then, that's not, he said, well, you need to take care of that sin, whatever it takes. That's what he's saying. It's kind of an exaggerated thing. He's not literally saying, take out your eyes and you can't see. God gave you those eyes. You're not supposed to destroy them. And then he goes on and says this. If your hand offends you, he mentions a hand, he says, cut it off. Remember this in other videos? Like, cut it off. Oh, no, I don't have a hand. You go, I don't have a hand anymore. Because maybe this is being used in the wrong way, in various ways, and one of them could be violence or something. By the way, in another passage in Matthew 18, he even adds the foot. And the foot kind of leads you into the wrong direction or something. Eye, hand, foot. So, and by the way, when Jesus went around preaching, I think he repeated some of his sermons. I do a lot of repeating myself when I teach. He did it a lot so that he got that message out there. And he repeated a lot of stuff. So he said on another occasion. But the fact is, if you don't do it, he says, if your eye offends you, cut it, gouge it out, or take it out. Not literally. He's just saying, get rid of that sin, cut it off, cut that sin away from you. Like, get away from that person or whatever you have to do. But he said, it'd be better to enter heaven than with your eye missing or your hand missing than to go to the other place, hell. He really said that. And it'd be better to go to heaven maimed or missing parts, so to speak. It's just a picture of getting the sin out of your life than to go to hell whole and to have your eye in your hand. It's just it's really an exaggerated form. It's called a hyperbole, by the way. Anyway, so does that make sense? Now, where does this hell, hell's not a bad word. It's used over and over in the Bible. By the way, Jesus talked about hell, I think, more than he did heaven, actually. Why? Because he doesn't want you to go there. He loves us. And I'm not afraid of hell at all. I've given my life to Christ, and I'm good. He's my Savior. He's saving me from the judgment of God. And where it came from, by the way, just a quick mention, if this is kind of Jerusalem, kind of the first century, and by the way, later there was a wall built up here, and there's a wall built down here and all. But if this is like Jerusalem here in the first century, what happened is there's a valley south of Jerusalem. It's called Hinnom. Okay, right here. It's called Hinnom here. And this big valley is right here, underneath here. It's kind of really deep gorge. It's a deep thing, and it's kind of wide and all. And what happened is, way back in the day, the people of Israel, they were serving other gods, and one of them was Moloch. Oof. And Moloch actually a statue that they would have his arms were out here, and they would actually sacrifice their kids. They'd take the kids and put them, this is horrible, and they would sacrifice them to that false god. Like, we want to give our best. And so they literally took their kids and kind of burned them. It was really bad. Not good. Well, a guy named Josiah, and I've talked about him in other videos. He's an 8-year-old boy, became king, and he became a great king. He was really godly. For the most part, he made mistakes, but he still was awesome. He got rid of this, like all that statue and all that. But he kept that place, and he had it. He put like the garbage down there, the fire. He burned garbage and also corpses, dead people that needed to be, buried or something. Well, he burned them down here. So this became a place of fire. In the times of Jesus, it became a garbage dump, basically. And literally was there's 20 gates all around here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 20 gates to enter Jerusalem. About 20 or so, maybe 4 others, smaller ones or something. But there were 20 gates. One of them was called dung, which is cow droppings and people's droppings when you go to the bathroom. They didn't have toilets and all that, so they would take that out there, and it stunk like crazy. And they would have a constant, perpetual, ongoing fire that burned day and night. It just was unquenchable. It just kept going. And they would take all the refuse and the filth and things like that, and the garbage and all that, and they'd put there and just keep it burning. Now, that word right there is Gehenna. It's 2 words, Gehenna. The Hinnom came from that Hinnom word, Gehenna, and that was like a fire. And it's kind of like a small lake or something that burned for all the time. And Jesus said the wicked people are going to go there who keep sinning and all that. So he said, sin is really serious, and so you need to get rid of your sin. You don't have to take your eye out. You don't have to cut your hand off. You don't have to cut your foot off if you're doing something wrong. But he's kind of making a very radical statement. Get rid of your sin. Make it serious so that you can be ready to enter into heaven. So good. So, and if you have sin, then you can come to Jesus, and he died on a cross for you so that he took all your punishment so that you don't have to go to hell. You don't have to at all. It's wonderful. It's good stuff. All right, God bless you, and I hope you enjoyed it. We'll get into our next session coming up here. God bless.